All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're putting on our literary critic hats to look at a truly mesmerizing tale of magical realism, and honestly, deeply relatable contemporary burnout. We're unpacking Mai Mochizuki's novel, The Full Moon Coffee Shop. We'll be looking closely at this idea of profound loneliness, how the very definition of success is shifting around us, and how those totally unexpected discoveries can completely flip the script on our lives. If you're a fan of character-driven contemporary fiction, you are absolutely going to love the architecture of this story. Let's get into it.
Now, take a look at this opening quote. It instantly sets this tone of unexpected discovery. Right from page 1, the author is playing with the boundaries of reality. I mean, we're told this coffee shop doesn't even have a fixed location. It might just pop up in a shopping arcade or maybe on a quiet riverbank. And get this, they don't even take your order. They just bring you exactly what you need. It perfectly sets us up for a story where characters are basically forced to confront their deepest and often most hidden desires.
Moving into Section 1, the burnt-out hitmaker. We're starting our critique by taking a close look at our protagonist, Mizuki. She's a writer who, well, has become completely alienated from her very own words.
This timeline here, it brilliantly maps out her rather tragic descent. She goes from being this celebrated scriptwriter to living in profound, professional, and really social isolation. I mean, at just 20 years old, she wins a huge television network award. She's a total prodigy. But fast forward to her mid-30s, the entire landscape violently shifts. Her primetime dramas, the ones everyone just assumed would be massive hits, suddenly tank. The ratings don't even hit double digits. The backlash and constant criticism totally break her, and it leads to her completely vanishing from the industry. She isolates herself, ignores calls, trades her nice apartment for something way cheaper, and basically sells off her old life.
So the author sets up this incredibly stark dichotomy. On one side, you've got Mizuki, the former hitmaker. She was known for these classic, big success stories, underdogs beating the odds, you know the type. But on the other side, we have Sarika, her new, highly secret identity. Under this pen name, she's barely scraping by, writing side character scripts for mobile games. She's in hiding, and her professional ghostwriting perfectly mirrors this deep emotional dissatisfaction she's dealing with, not to mention her sheer terror of putting her real name, her real self, back out into the world.
Which brings us to Section 2, Writing Without Real Connection. Let's look at how this ghostwriting gig reflects her desperate desire, and her ultimate failure, really, to find genuine human connection.
We get a glimpse of this through the eyes of her former colleague, Akari. We see the tragic symptoms of a creative person who has just completely lost her inner drive. Akari is this sharp, go-getting TV director who actually used to look up to Mizuki, but they meet up so Akari can reject a pitch. And in that meeting, Akari has this internal realization: ambition isn't a bad thing, it just means commitment. Looking right into Mizuki's eyes, Akari can tell that the spark is just gone. Mizuki's writing has become a totally mechanical task, completely void of the authentic emotion and connection she so desperately craves in her actual life.
But right when her isolation feels absolutely permanent, she makes an unexpected discovery on the riverbank. And this changes everything. What she finds isn't your everyday coffee chain. After getting this mysterious business card, Mizuki wanders down to the Kamo riverbank and stumbles upon a retrofitted food truck. But it's bathed in the light of a perfectly circular full moon, set against this dazzling, almost planetarium-like night sky. This right here is the true inciting incident of our magical realism journey.
All right, Section 3, enter the feline catalyst. This is where the magical elements really kick in, with cosmic cats acting as literal and psychological catalysts for change.
Now imagine her absolute bewilderment here. She walks up and is greeted not by some hipster barista, but by an enormous 6-foot-tall talking tortoiseshell cat. The text paints this wonderfully surreal picture: a giant cat standing on its hind legs, wearing a navy blue apron, with a face perfectly round like a moon. Her reaction is incredibly human. Honestly, she basically just blue screens. Her mouth is opening and closing like a goldfish. This wildly unexpected encounter instantly shatters the mundane, gray reality of her isolated life.
So, as a reader, we have to ask ourselves, is this surreal encounter just a hallucination? Or is it a mystical intervention meant to break her cycle of loneliness? Wearing our literary critic hats, it's fascinating to watch how the author balances these two ideas. I mean, Mizuki literally wakes up in a hotel lobby a little bit later, wondering if the whole thing was just a crazy dream. But the lessons she learns from these feline baristas, they are way too tangible, way too profound to just brush off as sleep deprivation.
Moving on to Section 4, Astrological Intervention and Discovery. Here we're going to break down how these feline metaphors use cosmic alignment to force characters into confronting their deepest, most repressed desires.
You see, the cats explain that the old age of Pisces success stories just don't resonate anymore, and this perfectly diagnoses why Mizuki's recent scripts are totally failing to connect with modern audiences. It's a brilliant thematic pillar for the book. The cats, who, by the way, represent planets like Uranus and Saturn, explain that the age of Pisces was all about academic meritocracy. You know, everyone desperately swimming in the exact same direction. And that's exactly what Mizuki used to write. But the world has moved on. We've shifted into the age of Aquarius. It's an era of revolution, where technology blends with spirituality, and there's a real respect for individuality. The cats help Mizuki see that her writing isn't bad. It's just speaking to an era that doesn't exist anymore.
And look at this beautifully illustrated lunar affogato. It perfectly shows how the cafe uses magical sensory experiences to gently coax out the characters' true selves. The cafe doesn't just sit you down and give you advice, it offers experiential therapy. Like when Mizuki is served water, she sees actual shimmering gold dust in it. Later on, other characters get items like this incredible planetary ice cream affogato. The sensory magic of the food literally breaks down their emotional walls, getting them ready to actually hear the hard astrological truths the cats are about to drop on them.
And the cat's intervention is highly systematic. They act as a catalyst for other characters to heal their own specific brands of loneliness and self-sabotage. Because it's not just Mizuki who visits this cafe. Take Satsuki, for example. She's an aspiring actress. She gets told point blank that society is going to put her on trial and her path is going to be incredibly harsh, but she embraces it with this new steely strength. Then there's Akari, that harsh TV director we talked about earlier. She learns that her relentless need to always be right is just a massive defense mechanism. The cats show her that holding herself to these absurd standards makes her project that same harshness onto everyone else. They basically give her permission to forgive herself. And by doing that, she finally admits to her messy, suppressed feelings of love for her colleague Jiro.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Reclaiming the Narrative. Let's look at the resolution of our critique and trace Mizuki's spiritual transformation as she finally reclaims her identity. This moment right here is a massive breakthrough. She stops fighting the current era and decides, you know what, I'm going to pour my authentic heart into this seemingly mundane work. If you look closely at this realization, Mizuki officially stops trying to be the hitmaker of the past. She accepts the age of Aquarius, this age of the individual. She realizes that even if she's just writing scripts for some mobile game, even if she's not allowed to write massive, sweeping primetime romances anymore, she's going to create the absolute best side characters she possibly can. She actively chooses authentic connection over her own ego. And guess what? By injecting real, raw emotion into a mobile game side character script, her writing goes completely viral. It proves that genuine connection totally transcends the medium. As you can see from these comment threads, her script just explodes online. Fans are deeply, deeply moved by the ending she wrote. And in this incredibly beautiful full-circle moment, she drops the pen name and reveals to the world that she is, in fact, Mizuki Sarikawa. It really hammers home the ultimate theme of the book. When you write with true vulnerability and just accept where you are in life, people are going to connect with it, whether that's on a massive TV network or just on a tiny mobile phone screen. The story wraps up with this incredibly poignant musical metaphor, really cementing the journey from isolated burnout all the way to spiritual rebirth. There's this mysterious older gentleman from the cafe, and he's playing the piano under the moonlight. He points out that Beethoven actually wrote the Pathetique Sonata when he was starting to suffer from serious hearing loss. So it sounds incredibly sorrowful, but underneath all of that, it's really about accepting your harsh circumstances and choosing to move forward anyway. It's described as Pluto in musical form, this concept of a true rebirth from rock bottom. And honestly, it perfectly mirrors Mizuki's entire journey from total creative burnout to finally finding her true voice again.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating final thought to ponder. Are we authentically adapting to our own changing narratives, or are we just desperately clinging to the past? Mizuki had to learn the hard way to stop forcing old definitions of success onto a brand new reality. So, looking at your own life, are you punishing yourself for not achieving an outdated ideal, or are you ready to embrace the eccentric, highly individual, and authentic path that's right in front of you? It's a brilliant question posed by a truly enchanting book. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and hey, keep your eyes open for your own unexpected discoveries.